Hey everyone, and welcome back to Goddess Theory SN. I want to put a disclaimer out before jumping into today's episode that I will be talking about loss and grief. So if this is something that you cannot handle, please feel free to fast forward or just skip this video altogether. Reason why this video is dedicated to loss and grief is I found out Friday afternoon that my uncle passed away unexpectedly after going through just some kind of like routine doctor's visits. We're still waiting on details of what happened, what we're going to be doing as a family moving forward. And with loss, any type of, and when I mean loss, I'm talking about death, like death, loss, and grief. Nobody ever prepares you for the death or the loss of a family member or a loved friend or what have you, whatever your relationship with that person is. And it's just kind of like a whirlwind of shock. Oh, excuse me. And it kind of puts things in perspective when you're kind of going through, I guess, like your grieving process. For me, I know that everything happens for a reason. So it's unfair, yes, that it was his time to go. But since I don't know full details of what was going on, maybe it was his time. He's not suffering. He's not in pain. And so that's my logical thinking of my beliefs as a person. But as a human feeling, the grieving process, it makes me feel like a bad family member. Just because I wasn't there, or not necessarily there when it happened, but closer to, with living in a different state, 8+ hours away, which doesn't necessarily seem like that far away. But when you have a full-time busy job, you have your own family to take care of, it's a lot. You can't just go down for a day trip, and so it just puts things into perspective with the whole like family concept of life. I know I've said in previous videos that I am dipping my toes trying to work on ancestry work and those types of things. So this kind of is a way to step into that a little bit more. I have a trip planned on the 14th to go on a free tour of one of the local cemeteries here in Savannah. And that was supposed to be my big introduction into ancestry work of the land. But putting this into perspective, I feel like it's a time to touch base with that a little bit more. So for today, I have my grandparents' ashes with us, and I have the spirit of all those before me and of family, friends, all of that energy around. And I wanted to dedicate this card pull to those who may be in the grieving process that I am, whether you've been able to come to terms with it or you're still struggling pending your relationship. And I want to be able to get a message from those before us, what they want us to know and how we should deal in grief with the loss of what's going on. And again, for me, this is kind of my segue of, okay, where to begin, where to go further. And I want you guys to know that as I'm shuffling these cards, I have my little transition sunglasses on, so I am holding back a few tears. Like I said, I understand and I've come to terms but it's still hard because nobody is ever prepared. You know, even when you have somebody who you know has been sick, you know has been in the hospital fighting, you're quote unquote prepared, because you know it's going to happen. But again, you know, nobody is prepared for that. So when it's unexpected, it just kind of hits differently. So with this card for today, I am dedicating this to anybody who is going through the same process, grief period, or whatever you like to call it. And this is a message for not only myself, but for you, of how to move forward, how to look at this, how you can learn and grow from this experience of death, loss, and grief. And if you are like me and you would like to be stepping into the world of ancestry work, then this could be your time to shine. So let's pull the card. Okay. So the card we pulled is the next part of your journey. Let's see if I can get it in there. And so this is the first time that I'm pulling this card as well. And so what I want to do for this video is I'm going to read directly from the guidebook. And then I'm going to leave this card up for interpretation for you. I'll tell you what I think after reading, but I'm not going to decipher the photo, the image, anything like that on this card. I want to leave that open for interpretation. Again, for those who need it, for those who are in this boat feeling what I'm feeling, or feeling stronger, feeling more, haven't processed anything like that. So I got the guidebook. I will hold the card up while I read. Okay. Card 40, the next part of your journey. Sometimes it is wise to contemplate what the next part of your life will entail. This mermaid is musing over exactly that. She traveled so far and has found places she needed to discover and come to know. Parts of herself were relieved and delighted in, but now she is unsure of what the next stage will look like and who she is becoming. She is not sure what she ought to be, who she ought to be with, if anyone at all, and she is hesitating over choices that need to be decided upon. She doesn't want to be sure right now. She is not comfortable with uncertainty, but she knows that to continue, she must devote some time to understanding who she wishes to next become on her life journey. And so, sweet child of the ocean, do you. Be sure to offer yourself the time and space to map out the big wild dreams, the unmissable longings, the experiences your souls crave, and begin to shape a map of dreams. It doesn't matter how you do this. Journal, speak with trusted friends or advisors, create an image board, write a list, but the experiences must be aligned with the non-negotiable adventures your soul dreams of. And preparation and making space for these do require some planning. The mermaid is unsure, as are you, but with some time, some conversation, some imagination, you will begin to shape a map of dreams, and then you will know where to swim next, as will she. So again, here's this card kind of up close. I'm sorry if there's a little bit of a glare. There's some clouds and things coming in, and I'm on my phone right now. But, whew. So, reading through the book, you know, kind of as I was saying, for me personally, it's kind of my step into that direction of looking for more into ancestry work. And so those key factors of take time, breathe, which can be that grieving factor, which I have kind of come to terms. So again, this is I feel like this card is very spot on for me right now and where I'm kind of at in my journey, and how I'm feeling. So like I said, this weekend has been my grieving process. I've kind of come to terms with it. Still, that this feeling is still going to linger. It's not going to go away overnight. So, um, but it kind of leaves that open interpretation to how you want to move forward. Just because this bad thing happened does not mean that there's not going to be good to continue moving forward with your life. You're going to have those core memories. You're going to remember you are going to be having one of the best days of your life. Maybe you're on the greatest date of your life, eating the best meal on some fancy cruise ship underneath the stars, under the Eiffel Tower, what have you. And then you may feel that spark of guilt because you were here enjoying this moment, or, well, that moment, but this moment, and those before you were not there. And it is okay to feel that way, but what we need to take away from this experience and from this card is that when you have that moment of guilt or of fear because you're feeling so happy, so in your life, and you just can't get it out of the back here, you need to switch that mindset of, oh, insert family friend name here, would have really liked this, and here's a cup of tea for you. So that's the episode for today. Like I said, it's a little bit weird, and I've worked up emotions, so we're gonna end before I ugly cry. But next video, I promise, will be happier. And again, just one more time, for those of you who need to see this card, and all the information will be in the description below. Until next time, guys.